Just getting, all right, just waiting for my own setup to. All right. This is RN50. Welcome back to all of you and to people who watch later on. We had quite an extensive break. And so before we start, I'm going to ask all of you, does anyone have doubts? Do any of the three of you have any doubts in the last 9 weeks and whatever we've covered in them? If you do, you can of course ask it right away, and I'll be able to clear it just so that because we had quite a long break. We had a few office hours, but other than that, I couldn't interact much with you all. So hope you all are fine also. And yeah. So does anyone have doubts? I'm gonna just open up the session for a few minutes, see if anyone has any doubts. All right. So today we're going to be talking about lists. Um, so before we start, how do we do lists in web? Would someone try to explain that to me?
We have ordered and unordered list, right?
Ah, yeah, good,
OL,
good job.
OL. Yep.
Yeah, so we have just like a tag, and then we have the list items inside it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
child.
yeah. And what happens usually in web is when the content is gone over the screen, it will automatically scroll, right? The browser will make the content, scrollable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, mobile devices are not, I mean, they're smarter, but for whatever reason, they did not implement the scrolling feature. So if, say, something like a div went over the line, you effectively wouldn't be able to let the user scroll and see the content. All right. So say I'm going to start a screen share here. I'm going to write a quick React code. So I'm going to just import something like view from React Native. And then before that, I'm going to create a new project in the RN50 folder. Whoops. Oh, where did my RN50 folder go? I think I lost it. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to init a new project. Um, would someone tell me the syntax of initializing a new project in Expo? What's the command? What will I type in the command, the terminal, to init a new project? So I would just type expo init, right? And then the name of the project, which I'm just going to call lists. Whoop, lists. So let's wait for this to open. Now, unfortunately, in mobile devices, you cannot, like the browser, the device will not. Oh, I need to use a template. I'm just going to do that. So, unfortunately, in mobile devices, it will not. You don't have the notion of ordered and unordered lists. So, what will happen is, um, you it won't automatically number or put bullet points in front of your items. Uh, it's more scrolling components. So the easiest list is just this thing. So instead of a view, we would just render a scroll view, and then we could just render whatever we wanted inside. So I could just say item one, I could say item two, another text. I could say another text here that says item three, item four, uh, item five, and I could just keep going. And if I just, and I could just have a scroll view like that. So that's a basic syntax of a scroll view. Now, I'm going to say this here. A scroll view renders or inserts all its children into memory before actually appearing on the screen. Okay. So before we render the scroll view, can someone tell me what's the problem with one? Again, it inserts all its items into memory, and then it appears on the screen. So say we have a scroll view, a list, if you will, of 10,000 contacts. What's going to be the problem or the caveat of using a scroll view in that case in terms of performance?
We have to keep scrolling, right?
Right, that's okay. But what's going to be the caveat of using a scroll view as opposed to other components, other scrolling components? Again, I'm going to repeat. It inserts all the items or all its children into memory, and then it renders on the screen. Then it appears. And to say we have 10,000 contacts, it's going to insert 10,000 items into memory and then appear on the screen. So what's the problem with that?
The process may delay, right?
Good job. So it's going to take a lot of time to render on the screen, right? And this is just 10,000 items. If we have like, say, 50,000 or a million, like Facebook feeds and YouTube search results and Google search results, just imagine how much time it's going to take for a scroll view to, go through all that, right? So just for that, we actually have these things called flat lists. So uh, you can write a flat list, and it has a few properties. So it's not like scroll views where you can just pass it children. Um, you have to first give it something called data, and say I just give it an arbitrary value that just says, I don't know, data, I guess. And then you have this prop called render item equals. It'll take a function. I'm just going to give it a function called, well, it's an anonymous function. It takes an argument called item, and then you just write the tags. So I'm just going to say text. Uh, I'm just going to render item and go. So what's happening here is instead of taking children, it actually takes data which it'll use. So the data is basically what it's going to render, and the render item is basically a clue to flatlist to say, okay, do I want to render each item in this data as a button or a text or an image or what, right? And what is well, could anyone think of, slim chance, but could anyone think of why this is so good? Why is a flat list so good? And why is it better than a scroll view? So if I'll give you a few hints. We're not giving it children, right? So we're not, writing a scroll view or a flat list, and then there's a closing flat list tag, and you write children in between. Instead, we're just giving it data and we're giving it instructions on how to render. So another hint is it's somewhat related to asynchronous and synchronous operations and things happening in the background. So what kind of gets you excited on this? What do you think is going on here? So since this is asynchronous, or since this is actually given data and this instruction, It's asynchronous, and so it won't, first load everything in a memory and then render it on the screen. It's just going to do both at the same time. And the second advantage is it actually won't load everything into memory. It'll only load what's required to load into memory. Or in other words, what appears on the screen. So I'll take my phone here. It has a pixel screen. It'll only load whatever can fit on this screen. And once I finish scrolling, it will load the next part because that particular part of content has, overshot the screen, and then it's going to load the next part. So can you see how that's slightly more advantageous in terms of, how it works? We're going to see shortly how this works in a project. But does anyone have any questions? All right, so let's see how this works in a project. We're gonna, define a quick project where, you can just there's a form and there are like contacts. So I'm going to make a directory called I don't know, let's just call it screens. And oh, didn't want to make the screens directory there. Okay, let's remove screens. Let's go into lists, and I'm going to make my screens directory there. I'm going to install a few libraries. Now, Flatlist comes pre-installed with React Native. So if I go search for React navigation, actually, because that's what I'm going to use, um, because, well, React navigation is good. Let's copy the codes. So it's just installing, and it's waiting. Till then, we're also going to be looking again at React navigation, and we're going to be looking at the tab navigation. So does anyone have any questions on React navigation from lecture? Oh, we need to install the dependencies now. So did everyone understand how React navigation works? All right, now I gotta wait for it to do its thing. Oh, it's not that slow today. Wow. And it's done. All right, we also have to install um, React navigation slash stack. Now, what I'm going to be making is a quick tools application where I'm not going to style this very well, but what's going to happen is, there are like tools that it's a bunch of tools. So we're going to have like a few. We're going to have that alpha position finder tool and a few others. So I'm going to make a few directories here. Now, today we're also going to be looking at composing navigators. So like how to nest one navigator inside the other. So I'm going to make a directory called navigators. And if I go into app.js, I'm going to clear all this code. And I'm just going to say import React from React. Um, and I'm just going to import one more thing, which is just going to be, oh, I don't know, main navigator from React, oh, not React navigation, dot slash navigators slash um, main navigator, right? And I'm just going to export uh, function, which is called, and I'm just going to return main navigator. Oh, main navigator. I'm going to close the function. Oh, I need to change that to a capital M. All right. So time to so let's write these navigators. So if I go into navigators, first I'm actually going to write another navigator that I'm just going to call. Um, oh well, let's just call this. Oh, I don't know. Again, I'm not really sure. Um, l- let's just call this the tools dash navigator dot js, and I'm going to import React from React, uh, and I'm going to import. Well, it's the navigator, so it's a stack navigator. So create stack navigator from from at React navigation slash stack. And I'm also going to import, oh no, I don't need to import anything else. So I'm just going to say const, um, again, I'm not really sure what to call this. What did I call this file? Tools equals create stack navigator. And I'm going to export default a function called tools, uh, tools navigator. And I'm going to return, um, well, okay. So tools dot navigator, uh, tools dot. All right. So now I'm going to open this to you guys. What are the tools, like some, day-to-day tools? I have one in mind. So I'm going to call name. I'm just going to call it. Oh, well, I don't know. Random number generator. And the component is just going to be random. Right. Tools dot navigator. Um, oh, it's not navigate. Dot screen. Name will be alphabet position finder. The component will just be alphabet. Okay, so do you guys have any tools in mind? Things like this, like a random number generator, things like that. Uh, do you want to create a few more, like, I don't know, 3 to 4 more, just so that we can show this list off? So, do you guys have any ideas? What would you want to render? Actually, I need to also. Oh, no, I need to give it an initial group name, which I'll just call home. And I'm gonna make another screen that's just gonna be called home, and component is just gonna be home. So, do you guys have any ideas for tools that we can create? Close that down. So, what would you want to see in like a tools application? Anyone have any ideas? We could have a coin flipper, coin flipper. Now this is going to be a production level app, except for the styling, of course. But other than that, it is going to be a production level app. Just going to say coin flip is the component name. What else? What other components can we create? I'm looking for 2 to 3 more. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to introduce another library that's just going to be called React Native, React Native Communications. And let's add a few things here. So I'm going to write a few screens here. Tools.screen. The screen name will be oh, so let's have email sender. Uh, Component will just be email, and another screen that will be dialer, and the component will just be dialer. And let's have a last one. So tool.screen, screen, I'll just call this web browser. Uh, the component will also be just called web. All right, so let's just close the tools.navigator and close that. All right, so we have the tool navigator, right? We also have to create our main navigator. So I'm going to go and create a main navigator.js file. We're going to import React from React, and I'm going to import. Oh, I need to install this yarn add React slash bottom tabs. So our main navigation is just going to be through bottom tab navigation. All right, I'm going to import create bottom tab navigator from at React slash bottom tabs. And before that, actually, I'm going to import navigation container from at React dash navigation slash native. Oh, I made a mistake there. Move that.
You are using the mute my audio.
And all right. So I'm gonna do a quick const main equals create bottom tab navigator. Oh, I need to import another thing here. Import what did I call it? Tools navigator from dot slash tools dash navigator. And I'm gonna go say export default function main navigator. I'm gonna return. Now watch, okay? I'm gonna say navigation container. Then I'm gonna say, oh, uh, well, main dot navigator, and then I'm gonna say main dot screen name equals home or home name equals, I'm just gonna call it home, and the component. Now see what I give as the component. Okay, I'm gonna give as the component tools tools navigator. So what does that do? Well, it passes in the whole tools navigator um, stack that we gave, right? So that whole stack navigator is now passed in. And let's create another one. So let's say the main dot screen name equals, let's have a settings, and the component will just be, actually, I'm just going to call this feedback. The component is going to be a feedback navigator. Let's close the tab dot nav. Oh, not tab dot navigator. Whoops. Tools dot navigator, and the navigation. Oh, tab tool navigation container. Oh, we wrote two navigators, and this was quite long actually. We've not defined any of these screens, but we're going to do that shortly. So it may be slightly longer today. So do you guys have any questions on how we define that stack navigator and how we define this tab navigator? So if you notice, we're passing two tabs, two stack navigators to this tab navigator. So it's going to render all that stack logic, and it's also going to be using tabs. So do you guys have questions about that?
Pranav, do you have any examples where we can see the design, any application that you have used with this? Maybe not with React Native, just the UI.
A clean example for this is actually if you look at WhatsApp, though the tab bar in WhatsApp is actually at the top, but that's their design choice. But if you notice, it's still a tab bar. And then what happens is so let me actually get my phone here and show it to you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to slow this down. I'm going to slow it down. Let I open up WhatsApp. So we've got, of course, this WhatsApp screen. And you can see there's a tab bar here. We've got chat, status, and calls, and then there's a list of all my chats.
Yep. Yep.
So see, I open up the React Native course tab, the thing, and you notice that it's open up this type of message thing. And if I go back now using the back gesture on my phone, and you notice it actually retains that list information on my screen. So you can notice that this is in senses a stack navigator, right? Because when you click on a chat, say I click on another one, it just pushes that screen onto the previous one, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And then of course there's my button to navigate up, and it takes me back to the main screen. So WhatsApp is a prime example of a stack navigator inside a tab navigator. So the way this probably will work, now I'm not sure exactly the makings of WhatsApp, but logically, they've probably created a tab navigator like I have here, Just they've created it as a top tab navigator. And then, and in fact, WhatsApp is written in React Native, so it's
Yeah,
pretty relevant.
correct.
And
Yeah.
then what happens is they probably created, many stack navigators. So, for each chat, they would create a stack navigator. Um, and you once you click on that, so as screens to the tab navigator, they would just pass in the stacks, right? The stacks for the chat. And so that's essentially an easy example of how tab and stack works together. There is another navigator actually called Switch Navigator, which is deprecated. It used to be this basic thing where you click a button, it goes to another screen, and if you click another button, not even a back button, if you click like another button that I as the programmer have put, it'll take you back to another screen and it'll unmount that screen. So all the data will be lost. It's a very basic navigator, but it's deprecated now. Other questions?
Thank you, Pranav.
Yeah, no problem. Good question. All right. So with this, we'll take a quick break while even I can actually get to writing. I think I will write the other stack navigator so that we can actually get to writing the screens and to show you what the flat list looks like. All right. So without further ado, we'll just take a quick 5 minute break here and we'll get back in just a second. All right.
Mute my audio.
All right, let's get back. And I actually decided to remove the feedback navigator and actually just have a feedback screen because I'm going to show you what React Native Communication does in just a second. So let's start designing our screens now. Before we um, design the home screen, I'm actually going to design the feedback screen real quick. Oops. So I'm going to open feedback.js. I'm going to uh, whoops, import React from, and this is basically, it'll just send, well, you can just send an email to, I'm just going to say RN50 in this case. You can even like, write things like, you can make a phone call, uh, and you can, well,
Sign.
um,
My audio.
so I'm going to import. What do you think we need to import from React Native for this? It's a very simple screen. It's just gonna have a few buttons that'll open up your default email app and your default phone app and things like that. So what do you think I may need? So of course I need a view. What else? I need two more components. I of course need a text and a button from React Native. And the last thing I'm going to do is write a quick um, phone call. I'm going to import a few things from React Native Communications, and I'm going to talk about that just once I'm done importing. Uh, Email, I think, and text from React Native Communications. Now, what is React Native Communications? What do you guys think React Native Communications might be? It's a library, and what do you think it might be? What strikes you when you hear the word React Native Communications? So it's basically a library that will let you, open up an email app with the default things configured, um, or the phone dialer with some things configured, or the text messaging, or a web browser with a link. So if I go over to uh, Google, and if I go search up React Native Communications, I'm going to see if I open this. So if I look here, and if you look now, if you look to if you look at make phone call, if you look at the send email, this actually takes a few parameters. It takes two CC, BCC, subject, and the body. We even got send SMS. The phone number, you can set it to null. And these two are already set to null by default, phone number and body. And communications.web will open up a URL. And so let's write this, right? So I'm also actually going to import. Actually, I will leave the styling to you. I will import style sheet, and let's say export default function feedback. All right, and I'm gonna just say have return. I'm gonna have a view. And I'm gonna say this. screen will let you send any feedback for us. Uh, all right, sounds pretty cool. And then I'm gonna have a few buttons. I'm gonna have another view, and you can of course style this. So now what I'm gonna do is just for fun, I'm gonna import scroll view from React Native. All right, and instead of the view, I'm gonna say scroll view, and let's have a button which will have a title of send email. Oh, email opens in your default email app. An accessibility label. Double tap to send email opens in your default email app. And then an on press of an empty parentheses, which is also going to include email. The two, I'm just going to set it to rn50.lectures@gmail.com. The PC is going to be null. BCC is also going to be null. Subject is going to be, oh well, I don't know, type, oh no, feedback, and then the body is just going to be type your feedback slash suggestion. Oh, suggestions here. Whew, okay. So put that button. Let's test it. All right. Before we test it, we're going to write all the other screens. Sounds interesting enough? Yep. No, actually, you know what? I'm going to write the rest of the buttons. So we'll write the phone call one. So phone call. Oh, I don't know. I could give a number that just says 63661097998. Everyone knows my phone number now. Yay. Um, and oh, I needed to put a comma and then true. Um, and then a title of make phone call us opens in your default dialer. And then accessibility label will be double tap to call us opens in your default dialer. Ooh. All right. The last thing is the text. So button on press will be just text 661099798. Um, type your feedback here. The title will be send us a text message opens in your default SMS app. Accessibility label will be double, not double, double, double tap to send us a text message opens in your default SMS app. I think I made a few bugs, but well, let's close the scroll view. Let's close the view and close that and close that. Does anyone have any questions on React Native communications? There's one more module to it that's web, but we'll cover that in just a second. That has been rather hard. All right, so let's write the other screens. Quickly, just write the random number generator and everything. For the random number generator, I am going to grab something here oh, from something that I wrote as one of my projects, which is all right. So there is this function. There's this function that I've written that I'm just going to copy, which is a random number generator. And I'm going to make a file that's just called rand.js. So it just does some math here. It's very simple. So let's just save it. Let's open up JS. Uh, I'm going to import React from React. This is kind of getting hard. View text button from React Native. Now, would someone tell me if I want to import this rand function? Oh, I need to make a quick change to it. Export and then that. All right. So would someone tell me how would I import that rand function into my random.js file? I could just say import rand from /rand, and I can just create export default function random, and I'm going to return. Oh no, I need to make this a class. All right, so I'm going to also import well, text input, and I'm going to do export default class random, and that'll extend React component. I'm going to have a state which will just have an input value of, well, 0. All right. Let's quickly make a function here that's called generate, and this will be empty. And I'm gonna just quickly, oh, I'm gonna have another value here, as that's just called rand val, which is going to be set to null. So I'm gonna generate. I'm not implementing error checking in this, but you can. Um, I'm going to do well, this does really this dot set state, uh, the input, no, the rand val will be rand. Oh, I need to change some stuff. I'll have a max, which will be set to 0. I'll have a min, which will be set to 0. Uh, the rand will have parse int, this dot state dot max, comma, parse int, this dot state dot min. All right, so we've got that done. And I'm also going to have a max going to be set to 0 and min going to be set to 0. All right, close that. Oh, no, I'll have to put backticks. Sorry, not Mac. Oops. I have to put quotes. Close another space there. So that was a long function. I'm also going to have a quick update max, which is going to have a text, and it's just going to say this dot set state, this dot state dot max colon text. All right. Okay. This is kind of getting tiring. So today's lecture will be divided. And the last thing is going to be an update min. We'll have text, and you guessed it, this dot set state, min, this text. Oh, I'm going to clear it really quick. Ooh, okay, time for the render function. And I'm going to have in this render function, well, a return of whoops, view, and then a text that says, please enter the numbers below, and then a text input of placeholder. Please enter the minimum value on changed text. We'll just give it update min. No, actually, this dot update min. And then I'm gonna give it that's it, nothing much. Another text input. The placeholder will have a value of please enter the maximum value, and on change text will be this dot update max. Then a button of, oh, I forgot the function generate. All right. Button on press should be this dot generate. The title will be generate number. Oh, that accessibility label will be generate number. Then I'm going to have a text that just has the value in it. So I'm going to say result this dot state dot rand val. Oh, okay. This is starting to be really tiring. Close, close, close. So we have written this component, um, and I am going to finally open up app.js, and I'm going to actually clear this, and I'm going to show you how does this work, the flat list. So I'm going to import view text, um, oh, I don't know, um, flat list from React Native, and I'm gonna export default class app extend React. Oh no, it extends React dot component. Really, component. I'm gonna have a state of some values. I'm just gonna say data equals pranav uh, Ar Arun, I don't know, Muskan, David, uh, no, you know what? Karthik, I'm gonna add you in also. Karthik. All right. So we have our data, and then if I render, I'm gonna return. I'm just gonna say flat list, and I'm gonna provide the data as this dot state dot data, and then render item will have item as an argument and equal greater than, we're going to say text item. So basically, it'll just print that item. So it'll print all these names, right? It should, at least in theory. And then close that, close that. All right. Hopefully, this should work. So your homework will be to use this flat list component, and I'll provide the code for what the lecture we've done, to use this flat list component in the home screen. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, quickly, through today, I'm going to write all the screens except for the home screen. And your job is to write the home screen in such a way that it uses this flat list component, and it'll render all the other screens, like all the other features of the app, including like the tools. And if you press on the tool, it'll actually go to the tool. So it'll use the navigate function. You are free to use the docs, and we will discuss the solution next Friday. So does anyone have any questions? Today's lecture was really, really fast, I know, but hopefully if you go through it again, you should be able to get it. And if you also notice that today's lecture was really, really code intensive. So it was very tiring to write to. So do you have any questions? All right, then. With this, we come to the end of week 9. And yeah, I'll share the Google Drive link with you by today or tomorrow. And actually, I'll share a GitHub link. So do you all know how to use GitHub? Does anyone here not know how to use it?
Yes, Pranav.
Yep, I know.
So if you don't, just saying, if you want a quick refresher, were all of you able to go through that supplement lecture that I uploaded quite long back, a few months ago on Git and GitHub? I uploaded it on the RN50 channel, and it was quite a comprehensive guide on how to use Git and how to use GitHub. It even included things like branches and stuff. So what I would suggest is, Muskan, are you still on the call? I'm gonna check. Yes.
Start my audio.
Yeah, you are. Are you efficient with Git, or do you know how to use Git and GitHub? Um, can't hear you if you're. So if you could also go through the supplement lecture that I've put up, if you are not familiar with Git and GitHub. You all, do you guys have any questions on the homework and how to do that? So I'll create a Git repository. What I would suggest, as I said, is for all of you to work on your own branches and then upload, push those branches over to GitHub. And when you are done, you could just message on the group and with your branch name, and I will merge the branch with the master branch. Or actually, I won't. I will check your work using the branches, and we will discuss my solution. Uh, I will upload next Friday. So till then, you can work on your own. I will upload this code, as I said, on the master branch. Um, so yeah, does anyone have any questions on the homework and what you're supposed to do? So as I said, I will create all the other screens for all the other navigators except the home screen. And you're supposed to write the home screen, which will basically include a flat list listing all the components or all the features, the tools. And the user should be able to click on one of those tools and navigate to the next screen. I'll give you a few hints. If you click on the tool, read up on the function that says this.props.navigation.navigate. Uh, and I would also suggest you use class instead of function when you're making your component, right? So does anyone have any doubts on the homework? All right, then with this, we come to the end of week 9, and I'll see you all next week for debugging techniques. And also, at the end of this app will be something that's, oh, and one more thing. You guys can mess around with the other screens. That is perfectly okay. And I would actually encourage you guys practice some styling. I have not styled this app, but I would encourage if you want to share this app with, some people saying, oh, this is my first, this is the app that I first worked on. You guys probably should style it. You can go, there's a React Native style guide online by the React Native docs. So if you look that up, you should be able to style the app using, the style sheet. All right. All right. With this, we come to the end of week 9. Wonderful to have you all, and hoping to see you all in week 10. Also, I think today we kind of went a little early, so we will cover up next week. So again, wonderful to have you all here, and I'll see you next week then. Bye.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Bye.